In a small, silent house on the edge of town, the walls carried echoes of a life that once held laughter, but now only despair lingered. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life stories with unexpected twists that will warm your heart. 8-year-old Ayesha lay on a thin mattress, her tiny frame weakening day by day. Her mother, Shabana, sat beside her with red, swollen eyes. The medicines were finished, money was gone, and hope, that had left the home long ago. Ayesha used to be the brightest light in the house, always dancing, always humming little songs she made up. But sickness had taken away her strength. She barely spoke now, barely smiled. Her father, Rashid, would sit silently in another room, unable to face the reality. He had lost his job 6 months ago. They had sold everything, fan, fridge, even Ayesha's school bag, just to keep her alive for a little longer. Neighbors stopped visiting, relatives stopped calling. Everyone believed the same thing. The child will not survive. Nothing can be done now. No one said it out loud, but the silence spoke louder than words. Days passed. Nights grew darker, and Ayesha grew weaker. Next door lived someone most people ignored, Naeem, a quiet, soft-spoken man who worked as a garbage collector. He walked to work at dawn, returned late, and people barely nodded at him. To them, he was invisible. But he wasn't invisible to Ayesha. Whenever he passed, she would wave from the window. He would smile back. But she hadn't waved in weeks. One cold evening, Naeem stopped outside the house. He heard muffled crying inside. Something told him something was terribly wrong. He knocked. Shabana opened the door, surprised. "Baji, Ayesha TK?" he asked softly. That one simple question broke her completely. She collapsed in tears, unable to hide the pain anymore. Naeem listened silently. About the sickness, the money they didn't have, the doctor they couldn't afford, the hope that was gone. And then he did something nobody expected. He stood up. "I'll help," he said. Shabana shook her head. "Badhi, tum to khud mushkil se guzarte ho. Tum kaise?" He didn't answer. Instead, he rushed home and returned with a small metal box, his savings from 8 years of work. Every rupee he had. "I kept this for my own house one day," he said quietly. "But this child, she deserves to live." Shabana stared at him, stunned. He pressed the box into her hands. He didn't just give the money. He carried Ayesha in his own arms in the freezing night. He took them to the government hospital. He argued with the staff. He stood in lines. He filled forms. He paid bills. He ran from one ward to another. He didn't sleep for 2 nights. And slowly, Ayesha's weak breaths grew stronger. Medicine worked. Treatment continued. Day by day, the little girl's eyes regained their lost shine. One morning, she opened her eyes fully and whispered, "Uncle Naeem, thank you." He smiled, tears building in his eyes. "I didn't do anything," he said, but everyone knew he had done everything. News spread. Neighbors who once ignored him came forward. Relatives who had disappeared returned. Doctors praised his courage. And Rashid, the father who had lost hope, held Naeem's hands and cried like a child. "You saved my daughter. I can never repay this," he whispered. But Naeem simply said, "Sometimes we don't need money. We need humanity." A month later, Ayesha walked out of the hospital on her own 2 feet. She ran to Naeem and hugged him tightly. And suddenly, the man nobody noticed became someone everyone looked up to. The little house was no longer quiet. Laughter returned. Hope returned. And Ayesha, the girl who was slipping away, now lived a life brighter than ever. because someone the world overlooked had stepped forward with a courage no one expected.